Hi guys, and welcome back to Behind the Look, another episode. Today's special guest is my PT, Amanda. Hello Amanda, how are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. We're gonna go straight into it. What sort of vibe are you going for with the look?
I was thinking more like a nudie type pink and very glowy and bronzy.
Cool, easy. Let's get started. So Amanda, for those who don't know, because I know quite a bit of what you do, for those who don't know, what is it that you do?
So I am a all-females online coach and personal trainer. So I do face-to-face personal training sessions as well as working with so many different women online, pretty much from anywhere all across Australia, even sometimes overseas. And yeah, I've been doing that for 5 years now. But a total of being in the industry for 7 years.
Yeah. And what made you want to get into that industry?
Well, from a young age, I was always like into fitness. I always played competitive sport. And I always wanted to go to the gym from a young age, but my parents like wouldn't afford it or let me go. So as soon as I started working, when I was about 15, 16, I was like, I'm getting a gym membership.
Yes.
And started going to the gym. Before then, I was just doing heaps of home workouts because I was just loved it. And yeah, I just realized how much I loved doing it and how much it actually really helped me, because mental health was a big reason why I got stuck into the gym anyway. And yeah, for me, it literally changed my life. It helped me build resilience. It gave me somewhere to, you know, let all my emotions out. And the feeling that it gave me, I was like, I want to make other women feel like this.
Yes.
And yeah, the passion just kind of grew from there.
Amazing. So what would you say are a couple of things in your line of work that are common misconceptions?
So a big one is always, especially when I get like new clients on board, a lot of them think I'm just there to, I guess, thrash them and make them feel sweaty and sore, and that a PT is just there to make you work hard and that's pretty much it. When it's honestly the complete opposite. For me, like a lot of my clients don't even sweat their first session because I'm actually teaching them how to move their bodies, you know, teaching them proper technique and being an educator. Because when it comes to fitness, there is obviously so much to learn. I mean, even I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just think, you know, you just go in, someone to push you and that's it. When, yeah, I think, you know, having a coach, it should be someone that you're going to because you want to learn. You want to learn, you know, how to better your life through training and nutrition, health and fitness. So I'd say that is a really big one. I guess another thing as well, which I see quite common as well, especially with so many new online coaches and personal trainers coming into the industry, is a lot of people are coming into the industry thinking they're going to make bank and that they're going to start making money straight away. They're going to have all these clients lining up, which definitely is not the case. And with my line of work, it's, you know, has one of the largest dropout rates within like the first 6 to 12 months of entering it. Because people realise it isn't exactly what they seem it to be. For me, like, you know, over the years, like, you know, I was not even making half of what I was making within my first 2 to 3 years of being a coach. I still had so much to learn. You know, I had to get my name out there. I had to, you know, become a professional at my craft and what I do. And from there, once I became super confident in what I was doing, people started to know who I was able to build my brand and build my online presence and just my presence in general.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, a lot of people, if you are going to enter this industry, don't just enter it for the financial gain, because, you know, it's not going to be like that. It is something you have to build up and it will take time. But if you can keep doing the hard yards and keep showing up every day and, you know, trying to get better at your craft, you will come successful at it. You got to have passion for this job. You got to love what you do. You got to want to help people. And I think that's a thing, as people just come and think, oh, this is going to be an easy, quick money grab. You know, online coaching is huge right now.
That's true.
In the space, and everyone's just saying, oh, I can keep some money from working my laptop. But if you truly want to be good at being a coach, you know, learning to work with people face to face is where you're going to learn how to be a good coach. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people are missing, and, you know, thinking they'll just become a good coach going online straight away. So I think that's a really big one.
And what sort of hurdles have you come across when like going through your business journey?
So I guess for me, I did start off at a commercial gym and worked there for a few years before I went out on my own and started my business. But I guess little common ones at the start was getting used to the hours. When I first started as a young PT, I was working doubles. I would wake up super early, 5 a.m, train morning clients, you know, maybe 6, and then I would go home, have like my break, which would usually end up in having a midday nap, and then having to wake up and pull myself together for a night shift, usually till 9 p.m. at night. So that was like a really big one in my early years, especially, you know, working for another gym, not really being able to choose my hours as well. And that was really hard. And I did continue that when I did open my business too. And I realized I was just becoming so burnt out, and it wasn't realistic, maintainable, or enjoyable for myself. So I adjusted my hours, and obviously now having my business grown so much, I can be really choosy what works for me. And in doing that, I'm able to deliver a better service because I'm, you know, feeling good during it.
Yeah.
I guess some other big things as well, especially going into my own business, is learning how to run a business on your own, doing all the back end work. It is hard doing your own business, but it is worth it. All the hard work really is worth it. But yeah, and to be honest, another thing that has been hard, but again has been so worth it, is again just trying to grow your business. Show up every day, show up on social media, you know, be consistent at showing people what you're about, and trying to also build a community with my AGF community, which you obviously are a part of.
Yes.
You know, you've been a long-term client, so you have someone that's been able to see the progress of
The
that.
growth.
Yeah. And at the start, it is hard to build a community, and the only person that can build it is you. It's your business. And, you know, that is something you have to be patient with. It does come over time, but now I think it's stronger than ever. And it was hard work getting it there, but it's the best thing ever now.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been amazing seeing your growth.
Yeah.
Watching you go from Mandy to Barbie and now on stage.
Bikini Barbie.
What was comp prep like for you?
Comp prep was one of the hardest things I ever did in my life. It was also one of the most rewarding and most fulfilling things I did in my life. I say to a lot of people through my comp prep, I feel like I actually had a lot of spiritual growth.
Yeah.
It made me realize a lot. Obviously, you know, you have to have resilience, you know, do a lot of things even when you don't feel like it. And it does really show you how much strength you truly do have.
Yeah.
And I felt like for me, you know, doing bodybuilding, especially going through comp prep, that, you know, I loved the grind and the hustle of it. Like, it was almost addicting. Like, I loved it. I wanted more of it. And I think for me, because of my own upbringing, my past, you know, from the hardships that I've come from, it was nothing to me.
Yeah.
It was almost like this is nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like, bring it on.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I loved it so much, because I was like, I've got the strength and resilience for this. And I think doing my first prep, I was like, this is a sport for me. Like, this is what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah. How do you go from the mentality of like going through the hardships and then now being able to say to certain challenges today, like, oh yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah. I think, you know, when you have gone through those things, like, it builds you. And, you know, when you are facing those other things, like you said, it's like, it's almost like it's built into you.
Yeah.
You know, you almost get to a point where it's going to take a lot for something to break you.
Yeah.
But it's honestly, you don't regret anything that happened in the past, even though it was sucky at the time, because again, it's allowed me to be successful in so many other areas of my life, and maybe I wouldn't be so successful today without it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
it's like appreciate
it. Yeah. And that's the thing I think a lot of people don't do, is use like all these challenges you're faced with, all these bad things that have happened to you, all the bad cards you've been dealt, use that as strength and turn it into something great. Like, use that as your anchor. Like, you know,
how would people use it? Like, what strategy?
So again, you know, like, if pretty much how I used it for my comp prep. You know, at that point I was like, this is so hard. I remember even having a day towards the end of my prep to pull, and I just broke down in the middle of the gym. I started crying. I was so tired. I was actually screaming to myself, I'm a failure. It was pretty hectic. It was the first like proper breakdown I had during my prep, and any bikini girls watching, I'm sure you can relate. But I was like, I got to the end of my work. I said, I'm a failure. I can't do this. I can't do this. And Paul's like, what do you mean you can't do this? And I was just like, at that moment, I was like, you know what? I've been through way worse than this. You know, points where in my life I didn't think I'd make it to where I am now. And, you know, I think that I was like, I've got this. Like, this is nothing. And I think that comes from like mindset work and strengthening yourself and actually having self-belief in yourself.
Yeah.
So things you have been through, you know, if you got through that and you got through the other side of it, use that for when you are facing tough times in the future to be like, I got this. Like, I went through that and I did that, and look where I am now. Like, I overcame it. Almost tell yourself you are invincible. Like, no one is invincible, but use that mentality. Have self-belief. I think with self-belief you can get so far, and I think that's what a lot of people lack when they're trying to be successful is self-belief.
How do you define success?
To me, success can look different for everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily dictated by money or, you know, how much you have or anything like that. But I think rather, you know, whatever you've kind of set out for yourself and set the goals, if you've reached that, that is success within itself. For me now, I've set a lot of goals over the years to get to where I am now, and I think ticking all of them off, and I said to my partner the other day, I was laying there, I was like, holy shit, like, I'm a PT, I'm an online coach, I have an amazing community of women, I'm about to go do a photo shoot with them all. I was like, this is all I've ever wanted since a teenage girl, and I got it. And to me, that's success. So I think as long as, you know, whatever commitments you're making to yourself, whatever goals you're making, if you're hitting them and once hitting them, setting more, you're on your way to success.
And do you often look back and like reflect in that sense?
More now than often. I think when I was in the grind and the hustle of doing it, I didn't do it enough.
Yeah.
And then now I think, holy shit, like
you sort of need to.
Yeah, you need to. You got to learn to appreciate it, because if you don't, you're not going to have those feelings of happiness and fulfillment. You're always just in grind mentality, which is totally okay. But you need to actually sit back and realize, okay, obviously I want more and I'm working towards more, but just take a moment to appreciate everything you do have now and where you came from. And I think when you do moments like that, it's like, oh man, that feels so good. Like, what a rewarding feeling. And celebrating your personal wins is important. Like, you got to do it. And yeah, like I said, I think more than ever, that's definitely something I am doing, giving myself gratitude, self-appreciation.
Yeah, lately you've like probably for a year, I think for a whole year, you have seemed to like really just gone full throttle in both business, personal development and everything. And like even your confidence, like watching you get on that stage, everything has evolved so much. Has it sort of been like really fast that it's hard to grasp, or like?
Yeah, definitely. I think like I look back now, I'm like, whoa, I stepped on stage literally 5 months ago. I was like, where did that go? And you know, now like this year I promised myself it was full gun-ho on business. I was like, last year was my selfish year for my comp. It was, you know, the business took a bit of a pause and a back end. I wasn't trying to build up too many clients because I needed to have time for myself. And then I did promise myself after that year, taking a year off competing. And it's going to be, it's going to be about building up, giving the girls everything they need, you know, building the business up. So, and yeah, I think moments I'm like, whoa, everything has gone really, really quick. And that's where it's like, okay, you actually, like you said before, need to sit back and take it all in and appreciate all this.
And so talking about like your confidence evolving and everything evolving,
Yeah.
how did you build that up? Like, how did you get momentum?
Yeah. So it was a long process. I now generally am obviously quite confident who I am. I love who I am. I love my personality. I love the way my body is through all of its phases and changes. But obviously it was not always like that. For me, I used to be very insecure. I used to really struggle with the way I looked. Used to always hide away in baggy clothes. And for me, what I had to do to get where I am was do a lot of inner work. And believe it or not, one thing that actually helped me build my self-confidence and self-love, which was most important, was bodybuilding. And the reason I say it, everyone's like, usually everyone says they come out worse the other end from bodybuilding and they get like body dysmorphia. For me, I think because I have the respect for the sport, I don't just, focus on trying to get lean, but really do those years of growing and, putting on weight and, actually learning to love yourself when you're heavier.
Yeah.
I think that was a massive thing. I think for a lot of people, which for some cases is the way, everyone is always trying to lose weight, get lean, thinking that's what's going to make them happy and make them love themselves, which in some cases it absolutely does. But I think for me, it was like, okay, you have a purpose of why you're doing this, and you need to love and appreciate yourself for this. And when I could see what my body could do when I was eating more food and, putting on weight and doing this for a long-term goal, learning to love myself, I was like, wow, I feel so good. I'm strong. My body's capable of so much in the gym. And I was okay with how I was in my skin then. And then obviously going through phases of being extremely lean, for me, I look at my body now and I say I'm unemotionally attached from it. I've got to learn to love it through all its different phases and realize that every phase has its purpose and that it's always going to change. So for some people, I would definitely say that bodybuilding does the opposite for them, which is totally okay. But for me, it really helped me build that deeper sense of looking past how I look and loving me in that sense. And I guess the other thing as well for me in terms of building my confidence in the other outer perspective as well was pretty much shaping my image of how I wanted to look. And this is a thing I want to be able to say to other girls. And this is one thing I thought as well, that if, say, you want to get cosmetic injectables, you want to change your teeth, there's nothing wrong if you want to do something that's going to make you feel good and better within yourself. For me, a big thing was I recently got veneers last year.
And they look great.
Thank you. And, for me, this was such a huge thing for my confidence. I was gap-toothed and, I did have chipped teeth and, there was nothing wrong with having these teeth. But for me, I wanted to be able to jump on my stories and talk and smile more without just staring at my teeth, and I hated it. So for me, doing things for me, I saw it personally as an investment for myself because it made me want to smile more. It made me want to talk more. It made me want to be more active on socials. And everyone says to me, they're like, wow, you just don't stop smiling now. And I'm like, no, I don't. And it makes me feel happy within myself. And, I think, I just started obviously when I could afford it, spending money on things that were just making me feel good about myself, making me feel confident in my appearance and again, how I wanted to see myself, aka Barbie.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like I said, don't ever let anyone make you feel bad for, whether you do want to go get your lips done, for example, or if you do want to go get veneers or, you want to change your hair color, whatever you want to do. If you want to lose weight, don't allow people to make you feel shit for doing things that you want to do just because they don't agree with it. And I think weight loss is a huge thing. We get, and one thing I get here from a lot of my clients is toxic positivity. A lot of people that, are overweight, they might come to me, and they're like, I want to make this change. I want to lose weight. I want to do this for me. I want to get healthy. It's like, amazing. Let's do that. And then I hear, friends, family members saying, oh my God, you don't need to lose weight. What are you talking about? And it's just like, this is toxic positivity. Like, don't spend your money on that. Are you okay? And they see it as unhealthy. It's like these people are trying to make themselves healthy.
Yeah.
And if anything, these people around you should be encouraging you. So again, whatever it is that's going to make you happy, go for it. Do it. Because guarantee, it's going to change a lot in how you show up every day for yourself, how you show up around other people. I now walk into a room now with my head held high and love who I am, and I'm ready to communicate and meet other people. Maybe 4 years ago, that might have not been the case. And yeah, it's just because I put myself first and invested in myself. So.
And what would you say to people who are like, they've got a circle surrounding them that is filled with like toxic vibes or toxic positivity? Yeah. How do they navigate that?
That's a really good question. So for me, I definitely have learnt the hard way. And I've cut a lot of people out of my life, family included. And it is really hard. But one thing you have to realize is if this person is not benefiting you, they gaslight you, they give you toxic positivity, or they don't support you or encourage anything you want to do, it's unfortunately, you don't need them in your life. And this is the thing, unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, which is really hard, whether it's blood or they've known these people for a long time, they've been in their lives, but you are now growing, you're actually trying to change your life, you're trying to do things better, you're trying to leave toxic traits behind, you're just trying to evolve. Like, a lot of people find it hard to let go because, they've known him for a long time or it's blood, but again, you got to realize what's important. Do you want to stay where you are and, feeling like shit about yourself, hanging around people that generally are just no good for you, don't benefit you or your growth in any way? Or are you ready to shed them out of your life and actually start doing things for you? Because, ever since from a young age, and this is something I actually really preach, don't be afraid to be selfish. Don't be a people pleaser. And I reckon back in my younger days I was. But now this is my time. Like,
it's your life.
Yeah. And I find because I look after me and I put myself first, I hang around people who challenge me, support me, and, educate me and inspire me. I am now able to do that to other people around me. Yeah. So, it's like, if you aren't looking after yourself and giving to yourself, how are you going to help and be able to give to other people? So I think, I always say, look at the 5 people closest to you.
Mel said that as well. Yes.
Yeah. Do they inspire you? Do they challenge you in any way? Do they motivate you? Do they support you? And if they don't, is it really worth the friendship? And my partner was listening to a podcast and he was telling me about this, that through life, if you want to be successful, you should be going through life and shedding friends.
That's true.
It's brutal and honest, but that's the truth.
Yeah,
and it's okay to shed friends. You outgrow people and that's okay. Like, it's okay. It's not that anyone's a bad person or anything, but you just outgrow people.
It means growth anyway.
Yeah. Like, change is okay. We should welcome it for positive reasons. But just really have a look at that. Your friendship should be an investment.
That's good.
There should be some sort of benefit that you get from each other. It should be an investment towards each other. And for me, I don't have a massive group of friends, and nor do I need one. I've got my close ones, and our goals all align. I've got some people that I aspire to be like, and I've got people that challenge me now. And I think because of them, I'm forever growing. So, yeah.
So where do you see Amanda as a whole individual as well as business in like the next 6 months?
So I hope to see that even more my community of girls and business has expanded. As I want to be able to give my services to a wider community of women. And I also hope to see that for me, through my bodybuilding career, that I am at this point I'll be peaking through my bulk in 6 months' time. And, you know, again, even developing more self-love for myself when I am in those heavier stages, but also probably at my strongest too. And, you know, this year I'd like to even further my education, do more studies, so become more educated. And yeah, just keep expanding and evolving. Yeah.
Well, coming towards the end of it now, of the little interview sesh. It's been great having you here.
Thank you.
Getting to know you a little bit better, even though like in our sessions, we
we
always talk
We do.
about everything in
Literally.
life, and it's great. But yeah, like what I was saying before, your growth has been so insane watching that.
Thank you.
You know? And like I know how much effort and hard work you put into your business and your self-development, and watching that happen, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really good. I've surprised myself, that's for sure.
And I think you need that, hey, to spice up life. Like,
Yeah.
because you're always doing stuff as well. Like you're
Yeah.
out and about, you're
Yeah.
making sure that every day is filled with something.
Absolutely, and that's literally right. Like every day has to be a stepping stone.
Yeah.
At the moment.
So is there a particular question that you wish I asked, but I didn't? And what would your answer be to that question? Sorry.
Probably, what would I say to my younger self?
Oh my God, you actually know. What would you say to Nintendo?
Yes. What would you say to her?
I would say,
Sorry.
don't give up. You're going to make it. And I would say, don't do it. And what I mean by that is I tried to commit suicide twice when I was younger. I didn't think life was going to get better. I grew up in a really toxic household, and I never thought I'd ever aspire to anything or ever get out and be able to have a happy life. And I thought that was it. And so I would say keep going, don't give up, things will get better. And yeah, like you're fucking made of brick, man. Like you're gonna do really good things. So, and help a lot of people.
How did you, thank you for sharing that, by the way. How did you overcome that?
So I actually started seeing a psychologist.
Yeah.
And she was amazing. And she gave me mental tactics of how to, I guess, calm myself when I am in those moments and I am feeling like that, or I wanted to self-harm, you know, how to get through that, where I can take my mind elsewhere, and just mind tactics of, you know, how to get through those times, and that, you know, things will get better. And yeah, I think seeing someone and just talking to someone and letting it all out, it really helped a lot. And it actually made me realize, like, no, like I've got this, I can get through this. And then, you know, a big change for me was I obviously, I got kicked out when I was little, and then I had to go live with my other parent. And, you know, even further through then, things weren't still great, but they were better. They were better, but they still weren't great. And yeah, I think for me, I just had to keep seeing that light ahead.
Yeah, at the end of the tunnel.
At the end of the tunnel. And I'm like, okay, well, things are better now, and they still can get better. And from that point, that's when I started to have goals. And goals is what kept me going, because I didn't have any goals back then. I just hated life. So having goals and something to work towards, that is, yeah, that's been something else. Yeah.
How would you like help someone find their goals? Like, what if someone doesn't have any goals?
I would start having to think about things you're passionate about. And your goals doesn't need to be reaching the sky. It could be little things for some people, you know, to just show up to work each week, you know, look after yourself, get out of bed and start going for walks, and just little things to get yourself on your feet and do something with yourself if you find you don't do anything and you're, you know, walloping and feeling miserable, because that is a common thing, you know. So I think whatever your goals are, just make sure it's achievable for you. So yeah, I would just be like, find something that interests you, find your passion, you know, don't think that whatever it is you're interested in is silly. Go with it, go with your strengths. For me, fitness was it. And I just really bounced off that. You know, again, I didn't go into it for money. I went into it because I loved it.
Yep.
And because I loved it and became so good at it, it did, you know, it was successful financially for me to be able to be where I am today as well. And that was just a cherry on top, really. So yeah, just find whatever it is that is calling towards you and lean into it.
And I think like passions and goals don't really need to align with money.
No.
Like that shouldn't be like why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Hey?
It honestly can usually, like if you do become good at something, generally a lot of people want you because you are good at it and it is going to drive financial income, but don't let that be the reason why you choose something. And I was actually having a conversation with a client at the moment, and she was doing uni and it was just for something that just wasn't for her, and she felt like she did it because it was going to make her good money, and she was just hating what she was learning and doing. It just wasn't for her, and she's completely diverting. I said, go with what is setting your soul on fire, and that's beauty. So she's going with beauty now.
And we've got so many like years and time to like develop what we want to do. Like we've got our whole lives.
Literally, like don't feel pressure. Don't compare yourself to what you see other people doing on social media. Remember, it's a highlight reel. There's so much hardships. I have a lot of hardships, and you know, it's never, no one's an overnight success. You have to work at it. But as long as you start, then you get further ahead. If you never start, you know, the best time to plant a seed for a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time's right now. So go with it.
Right, I'm going to spray your face. Close for me. Perfect. And I'll give you a little look-see.
Yay. Oh my God. Oh, look at you. You're amazing. Oh my God, stop it. You actually did like that? I love it.
Yay.
You did such a good job. Thank you so much.
Love you.
I love you. Oh my God.
Oh, thank you.
You did so quick.
I know.
Like,
I was shocked by that. Woo!
So good. I love it.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and listening to Amanda's story. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.